This is a little bit different from what I normally do, away from the drum covers or whatever, but I felt as though I had to make this video because I just wanted to get my opinion across on Machine Head's newest song that's finally been released, titled Is There Anybody Out There? So let's just dive into this review. So what do I think of the track? Well, I personally, I dig it. I think it's a pretty decent track. It's fun to listen to, although it's clearly not Machine Head's, best work, especially compared to the most recent albums. But more on that later, I guess. Yeah, it's a little bit of a step back, like I said, but that's kind of what I expected. The song to be, fun, catchy, and, bouncy, and kind of like rap almost, because I expected this because I watched the making of the song where Rob Flynn was explaining it in great detail. He said that he wanted to be almost like a rap, especially like the verses, as the chorus isn't really rap at all. I knew what to expect from the riffs because there's the riffs are kind of in the making of video as well. They're pretty like bouncy and pretty simple as well. So yeah, that's why I'm not really as disappointed as the rest of the fan base. Well, most of the fan base anyway, because like I said, I knew what to expect, and for what it is, I think it's pretty decent. But although I say I knew what to expect, so I wasn't disappointed, that's obviously not going to be the case for everyone. If you did know what to expect and you were disappointed then you might still be disappointed now, which is fine. And don't forget, this band are not in 100% writing mode. They're not actually composing an album, as far as I know anyway. And when they wrote this song, I think it was just a one-off thing that they wanted to write, so you don't need to panic as much as you are if you are like one of those people that are concerned that this is the start of like this, this is the beginning of the end. So I'm sure when they do take time to compose, they go off tour and they actually start writing as a unit like they normally do, that the next album will be way better than this fucking song. Like, the song might even, it probably will make it to the next album, but I won't be surprised if it's a bonus track on like a special edition CD or whatever. But if the rest of the upcoming music from him is going to be like this, then I myself, although I do really kind of like this song, I will be concerned because, like I said recently, it is kind of a step back, and if the rest of the future music is going to be like this, then that's really going to hurt, the fan base and whatever, especially considering that they've been really consistent with their music recently. But hopefully, if you take into account what I said, as in like, this is a one-off song and they're not in 100% writing mode right now, then maybe you can appreciate the song more. But if not, if you still think it's a piece of shit, that's fine. In a way, I'm glad a lot of the fan base is reacting like this, like really ripping into it, because it's feedback, and it's feedback from the die-hard Machine Head fans that know what they want. So hopefully they will, the band will take this into consideration and be careful with what they release in the future, and they need to be careful that they actually do take their time and really focus on what they're creating, for future releases or whatever. But the song probably will grow on you eventually, but at the moment, just really try and just think, this is a one-off thing, it's good for what it is, and it's just try. So I'm gonna talk about the song itself in a bit more detail now. Like I said, it's bouncy, it's catchy, and a lot of people say that it's it's like fit for the radio, which to a lot of people it's a bad thing, but I can see where they're coming from. But at the same time, there's nothing really that wrong with that, and as long as the rest of the stuff they're gonna be releasing is gonna be clearly not meant for the radio and only meant for the die-hard fans, so yeah. But anyway, the song itself does feature the Machine Head guitar, natural harmonics, which is fucking awesome because every single harmonic they have ever played in their music has been fucking orgasmic, so I'm glad that, they're back in this. They're in the main riff, and they stand out more in the chorus riff, which really does complement the vocal line as well, which is fucking pretty killer. So the track itself is a pretty generic, structured track. It's probably 4.5 minutes long. I can't remember the exact length, but it's intro, verse, chorus, verse, bridge, no guitar solo in this, which is good in a way. I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, bridge, chorus, outro, and that's it. It's kind of repetitive, I will say that. Like, in terms of the title of the track, Is There Anybody Out There, is fucking screamed all over, well, not screamed, sung all over the fucking song, which can be quite annoying to most because it does sound a bit repetitive, but it's not too bad. It's probably not as bad as I'm making it out to be, but But anyway, the bridge replacing the a solo where a solo would normally go. I think it works better than a solo, because if they had a solo in that part, it wouldn't really complement the song as much as the bridge does, because the bridge section, it has more to offer than a solo could, I think. It has bits of piano being played in it. It has strings, more on the strings later. Vocal harmonies, and it builds up the final chorus before the outro. So anyway, the string sections, I love them. I love them in Now We Die, Who We Are. It just adds a unique thing to it. It adds more power. It adds a more of a dramatic element to it. And a lot of fans that I saw in the comment section on Now We Die anyway, when that song came out, they despised the strings. Without any constructive criticism, they just fucking slammed them because it's not metal enough, which is fucking horse shit. But anyway, they had a unique kind of feeling. They had a dramatic feeling. Speaking of unique as well, they have whistling. The intro has whistling, the bridge does, and I think maybe the outro does as well. I can't really remember. But the whistling is pretty killer because I don't think I've ever seen a band really. It's normally just woes, which is actually what they were going to go for if you watch the making of video. They were recording whoa, I can't sing, so I'm not going to do it, but you know what I mean. But instead of that, they were whistling, which is pretty fucking cool. So yeah, the riff is pretty simple. It has the harmonics, the drums are tight, the drums complement the music itself. They don't really go off on one and do their own thing. It locks in with everything else that the music does, really. And now with the lyrics. If you know anything about this song, the lyrics are obviously about feeling disconnected and lost from the rest of the world, being on your own. And this is mostly emphasized in the first verse, as the second verse kind of is a strong hint to the situation, the white power situation that Phil Anselmo done earlier this year, which most of the comments I've seen so far have been from Phil Anselmo fanboys that are just slamming Rob without any constructive thought or criticism. And what do I think of this, the lyrics about Phil? I don't care. I really do not care. It's kind of old news at this point, but at the time when Rob wrote them, I'm sure they were, they meant something to him. They probably mean something to him now still, but it's kind of forgotten about in a way. So the fact that it's kind of brought up again is, it's really? You're still going on about that? I'm not saying that, even at the time, I didn't care about what Phil said, because I did care, because he did give metal a bad name, screaming white power, Sikh Island, and it was put on the internet for thousands, possibly millions, I don't know. people to see it and like just shrug it off because it's Phil Anselmo and he can do pretty much whatever the fuck he wants. But that's kind of a topic that's been gone over already, especially in Rob Flynn's personal video where he gives his thoughts on the situation. So if you want more of an insight on that, then head over and just type in racism in metal and it comes up. But okay, so I think I've pretty much covered everything in a pretty decent amount of detail anyway of what the song is, except for the breakdown, which I'm going to do right now. The breakdown itself is fucking killer. I mean, well, to an extent, and I'll tell you why now. But the section sounds fucking great. It's a good part to bang your head to, it's a good part to scream along to, and the lyrics are pretty powerful. However, the lyrics don't really complement the rest of the song. I mean, the second verse, although it kind of like goes back to the situation with Phil, it also goes back to the fact that the metal community shrugged it off, and Rob felt like he wasn't a part of that community for just shrugging it off as if it was nothing. So that's why you kind of felt disconnected from metal, I guess. And the lyrics are: live my life like I'll die tonight, dream like I'll live forever. If you think about it, it's more of like a YOLO kind of phrase, dream like I'll live forever, live your life like you'll die tonight, whatever. And I just don't see how that fits in with, feeling disconnected and lost from, the world that you thought you were a part of, if you get me. And musically as well, the way that it jumps from chorus straight into fucking breakdown, I don't think it's done very well. It's really, really abrupt and kind of out of nowhere in a way. Although, like I said, the section itself, is pretty killer. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. Overall, I really like the song, and if you don't, that's fine. But, hopefully what I've said in this review will not necessarily make you like the song now, but appreciate it for what it is, and, hopefully this will be the last bit of music that Machine Head will write that's similar to this. Hopefully the next album will feature the stuff that they've been doing for these past years now, like the killer riffs, the harmonies, the amazing guitar solos, all that good stuff. So yeah, leave a comment, and you can say that I'm wrong or whatever. You can put anything you want in the comment section, as long as it's constructive in some way, shape or form, and I'll get back to you. And yeah, thanks for watching.